Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Choirs and Cups with your hosts Darkside and Affordable Dreams. Today we have a special guest, LG McDonald, here to clarify some stuff coming up with the trade deadline and playoff picture and all that fun jazz. Thank you for coming on today there, McDonald.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. As always, it's always fun to jump on and hang out with you guys and talk about some things that are coming up. So yeah, glad to be here.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, always glad to have you, man.
So what did you want to come in today and kind of let the viewers know?
So obviously trade deadline weekend, right? So it's super busy for staff and the BOG, and obviously managers trying to make some last minute moves in order to back up for the playoffs or set yourself up for next season. So just kind of a couple things I wanted to go over. Sunday is obviously the start of week 7, so that leaves in the AHL and NHL that leaves us with 3 final weeks, right? So week 7, week 8, week 9. Mm-hmm. Moving into the week, all regular bans that anything that would be like a regular 2-season ban automatically gets pushed and updated to a 3-season ban. The reason why we always do that is just to ensure, we're pretty much done this season. This season's a wash. So in order for a ban to be, consistent with a roughly 2 seasons, we tack on the extra one. So everything moving forward that was a standard 2-season ban, obviously now will be a 3-season ban. It was one of the first things I wanted to kick off, make sure everyone was aware of. Secondly, so tomorrow night, trade deadline's at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any trades that were pushed after 6 p.m. are obviously going to be denied. And then a 2-hour window after that, so at 8 p.m. on tomorrow as well on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time as well, is the waiver deadline for the NHL and AHL. So same thing. After that deadline, we no longer allow teams to send players down. We do start up a conditional waiver period. That starts at 8:01. But that conditional period is for, let's say, the Toronto Maple Leafs placed a claim on a player that was placed on waivers prior to the deadline, and then the Leafs say win that player. We allow them to then make an adjustment to make sure the roster compliant. So let's say the Leafs win me on waivers. That puts them at 18 players. They're allowed to make an adjustment. So we consider that conditional waivers. So then that someone else gets put on waivers and go on from there. So basically, we're getting into close to the playoff time where rosters are going to get locked. And when I say locked, I kind of use it loosely because when I talk about locked, it's just more that movement of players downward is something that we don't longer allow after waivers. And then entering week 9, so in a couple weeks, so the very last week of the season, we do allow for like a window where any players that are waiver exempt, so amateur players that are going from the NHL to AHL, or drafted players that are going from the NHL to the AHL, or even from the AHL to the CHL, those players are locked in as of Sunday of the final week as we enter that season as well too. So just everyone always has questions this time of year about, can I be placed on waivers, or can I be traded, or how does it all work? So I always make management posts this time every year just to ensure everyone's on the same page. But just for the players that are kind of confused on how the end of the season works, that's pretty much all of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Now, a question that's kind of related is just the CHL, and I know this is typically the show we do for the AHL, but I'm sure we have a few viewers out there that are curious. So there's been a new rule implemented with the waiver exemption for players who I believe played, 16? 18 games?
18 games, yeah.
Yeah, 18 games.
Is there a number for goalies included in that, or is it just players?
So we're gonna for this season. It was a request from last season, right? We had a lot of call-ups late in the season last year where players are going from, say, strong playoff contending CHL teams up to AHL teams that are just trying to finish out the season that aren't even going to make the playoffs. So there was a lot of concern from CHL managers that I'm losing top-tier talent at a crucial time in my season to teams that aren't even going to make a push. So what we did was this year we implemented a new rule. So like you guys stated, it'll be applied to players or goalies. This is kind of the first season we're going to feel it all out. Okay. And the requirement is the player has to play a minimum of 18 games in the CHL this season, and they'll be allowed to be returned to the CHL free of waivers prior to the NHL and AHL season completing. So we're going to kind of feel it out, see how it works for this season, see if it's something that's effective, and because obviously that's our hope is to fix that.
Yes.
I'm also going to talk to the AHL and NHL managers next week in my weekly post to them, and just kind of explain the difference between using ECUs and call-ups. This time of year, we offer ECU exemption to NHL and AHL teams that are out of the playoffs. So if they have a player on their training camp that has been a consistent ECU for them that's already reached their limit, we're looking to remove that limit so that the AHL and NHL team doesn't have forfeit issues, but also they could use ECUs. And the alternative too is the players in the CHL have to keep in mind a couple things like one, do you want to stay on your top tier CHL team? Or do you want to be called up? Because the AHL has a couple options. If you're willing to work with the AHL and NHL to prevent forfeits, and you're willing to ECU and play six to 9 games a week, at different tiers, then they're going to use you at that level, which also ensures that you don't have to be called up, so your season's not going to be jeopardized or changed at all. But at the end of the day, if you're unwilling to ECU for the AHL and you're going to make excuses and whatnot, then they do have the option to really just simply call you up and then use you where they need you. Which is something that I would like to avoid in some situations, but obviously is inevitable in other situations. So just education of the managers in regards to how to fulfill the commitment at the end of the season is obviously something I'm going to push for next week. And obviously our players have to keep in mind a couple of things. If the AHL team needs a goalie in the final weeks of the season, they're 2 points out of the playoffs. They have a goalie in their training camp that maybe is top 5 goal in the AHL, in the CHL. Well, there's a good chance that goal is getting called up to give that AHL team the best chance to move forward in the playoffs at the higher tier. So
yeah, for sure.
We do have a tiered system, and the only way we can really ensure that the highest tier at the NHL is kind of priority is obviously through call-ups and just through giving them preferences. So as you move up the chain of command and work into those higher tier management positions, you're given less restrictions and more options, which is kind of how we can promote the real NHL and how this is simulated to be.
For sure. The main question I was asking kind of in regards to that is, so there's some sort of confusion, at least from my personal knowledge, and I'm sure others, is, so say for example, at the end of week 9, let's say, like the end of the season, Team X in the AHL isn't going to make it. They called up Affordable Dreams' player off the Thunder. They sent him back down. He can't then call them up, right? Because unless he has a roster vacancy, right? So that player might have been removed. Okay, so that is sort of a I don't want to say an issue, but that is something people have to be aware of as well. While you might get your player back, he might not be able to be on your roster.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. So I think when I put it all together, it all made sense to me. And then when I looked at it this weekend when I put it out, I was like, the timelines don't match up. So likely what I'll adjust for next season, I'll match the timelines up differently to ensure that those players are being brought back down at the same time prior to the CHL roster lock. So there is an option for a call up there. But at this current time, in your situation, yes, if Affordable Dreams is sitting on an AHL roster at the end of week 9, which would be technically the beginning of round 2 in CHL. If he's returned to a CHL team, he will be returned to the training camp.
Yeah.
Obviously, teams have to maintain a full 17-man roster for the duration of the playoffs.
Yep.
If a player is removed, well, then obviously you have a vacancy at a call-up position, which will allow you to then call your player back up. But yes, at this current time, your players that will be returned as of week 9 will be returned to your training camp, eligible for ECU use, and that's basically it, or eligible to be called up if there's a vacancy created due to someone quitting.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Which makes total sense. I think it's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, that was the goal. We're just hoping to try to give flexibility in places that are required, right? So that's kind of what we're hoping to, and we'll see where it goes from this season. We'll see if we have any issues. Obviously, in last playoff, we had some issues with people kind of manipulating the ECU system, which led to some issues that we tried to address, and led to some games being overturned and some managers getting in trouble for those things. So we're hoping that when it comes to this playoffs this time, we have some of the bugs worked out, and teams are going to just follow the rules as they're meant to be, and hopefully we don't have any issues moving forward.
For sure. How about regards to trade deadline? I know in the past there's been some rules set down to avoid trying to stack one team with top players and avoid those really weird trades. But yet you still do see teams finding a way to sneak those trades in. Is there any way to maybe eventually stop that from stacking one team too much at this deadline point in time?
The only real way to made the deadline earlier, right? So if you move the deadline forward in the season where those teams that are on the bubble there's more teams on the bubble and they're not out of the playoffs, then they'd be less ample to maybe trade away some of their top tier players for lesser. That's the only real way we could address that, which is something I don't think the managers currently want. Some managers are asking push it. Some managers want us to push it back a week, which doesn't make any sense. It just makes that issue worse, in my opinion.
It does.
The only other thing the BOG review all the trades. At the end of the day, we have to accept the fact that there's going to be winners and losers to every single trade, right? So we're trying our best to make sure that it's trades are relatively fair, and obviously this time of season, some of the better teams that are making playoff pushes are going to be the teams that are going to come out as winners because that's what they're making these trades for, right? So I just think, it happens in real hockey all the time. There's rental players, loaners and stuff, and it's something we have to accept. And at the same time, it's the trade deadline, right? So, every team right now is in the hunt for certain people, certain assets, and that's just they're working their way right now. I know I'm in a chat with my managers currently in the AHL just because they're asking opinions on certain players they're looking. And these guys have been in a dogfight since Wednesday night, trying to get a couple assets to kind of help us for our playoff push as well, too. So I can understand that it's kind of fair to all the top teams. They all kind of have a shot at certain players depending on how much they're willing to give up or whatever. So I do understand that some teams want parity.
I guess the issue, I guess, in my mind, is you see some, like, especially, being in the management Discord, you see some of the offers that were offered, and they turn it down for some top tier players back, and they go for like TC players to another team instead. To me, I guess, to a lot of people, that's like, well, why would you do that to stack that team more when I give you a better deal? Right?
I think some of the issues I think too is like, one, if I trade for an upgrade in training camp, I bring in a bunch of players that the training camp players tend to be the players that actually want to play, right? They're new guys, they're willing to play. Where maybe if you're making a trade with a top team and you're a bottom team, and we're going to swap my top line center for your top line center, but your top line center is much better than mine. Maybe getting your top line center moved to a lower team is just going to result in him quitting anyways. Him, fuck this, I just went from the best team to the worst team in the league. Becomes an issue, becomes an attitude where if you move that player for a ton of training camp players that are just willing to play the game, then you can finish out your season with less headaches, which I think is something that some other teams look at as well. Some of the lower teams too that have like top players, a lot of the top players, come with egos, come with other issues. So they're just looking after a long season, they're just looking to unload this player somewhere where he's not going to quit, not going to create compensation, but also not be a headache for them anymore. And once again, there's a lot of players in the training camp that are constantly looking for a team to play on and look for an opportunity to play. So, an opportunity to go at the end of the season to a team to finish out that season
a little bit, right?
Gives them an opportunity to actually play. So,
yeah. I hear that. It's just some things I've heard buzzing around that I thought I'd bring up just because the public has. Why not bring it up, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. I think everything is subjective when it comes to trading, right? So everyone values players differently and values salaries differently. And at the end of the day, we try our best just to keep things as fair as possible. And that's the best we can do for this. But obviously, most of us, we have to understand that, one, in real hockey deadlines, good teams always try to load up. And two, at the end of the day, the only real way we can address this issue is if we push the trade deadline forward, so then teams are not out of the playoffs per se at that time, which then makes them less likely to just unload some of their players because they still have a chance, right? So those are the kind of
the long run might not be horrible, but it might not be great either.
Yeah, I understand for sure.
Yeah, it has ups and downs again, right?
No, it does for sure.
Definitely. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up before we have any more questions for you?
No, that's all. Those are the big things. It's just this time of year tends to be hustle and bustle. I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. One of the other changes that's coming to the system, I'm going to put a message out maybe tonight if I've got some time on my hands at work here, or tomorrow morning, is the fact that we have to, due to some system issues that we've had, we actually have to change the retirement deadline for next season. So obviously next season, summer season, which tends to be maybe an exile for some players who wanted to sit out. So we actually are not going to open the ability to retire for next season until we actually change the season ID into next season. So in past before, during the finals or during the Memorial Cup, during the Calder Cup and stuff, we've opened the ability for you to retire for the next season. Unfortunately, by doing that, we've actually discovered it's creating some bugs and issues in the system that we actually cannot fix without closing the ability to retire during the season. So next season, season 11, if you're looking to retire for season 11, you actually cannot retire for that season until we're physically into that season, which shortens the retirement window, which is going to be a pain in the ass. It may cause some issues. So I'm going to do my best to get all the information out via site PM to all of our players now. So everyone kind of has an understanding of, hey, listen, this is the earliest date I can retire for next season. So if you don't make the playoffs and you need to retire for next season to not get a ban, well, obviously I'll make sure you have that information as soon as possible. Set a notification on your phone. Make sure you come back for that timeline and just retire when you have the chance to. But that's one of the big changes that is coming, and it's unfortunately just something that we have to do due to site systems.
Okay. I mean, that's a great answer. It makes total sense to me, in my opinion. Again, things that have to be covered talked about, right?
Yep.
Last thing for me is, I guess, the All-Star thing. There was a whole new format this year for All-Stars brought out.
Yep. Yep.
And from my understanding, it's kind of the way the LG is going to sort of fold and buckle into is a new format for things.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, was All-Stars done on a fair basis, or was it kind of biased?
I feel like it's one of those things too, man. It's so funny when you talk about trades and all-stars and awards. Is everything is so subjective that some people are just going to argue bias because they're not picked, right? Which is a bias in itself, which is kind of funny. But in my opinion, I think that the coming forward, how you guys handle everything, it was handled properly. There's good representation. There's good players. It's structured. The structure was put out publicly. If people want to debate the list, debate the players, so be it. There's always going to be that. But I think it's nice to have something that's official that says, hey, this is what it is. I think it was handled properly. There's a couple of players that maybe I wouldn't have personally selected, but that's just the way that it's going to be like that anyways, right? You change the two people that are selecting All-Stars or whoever handled the panel, it's going to change the look of it every single time, right? And that's just the way it is. At the end of the day, it's recognition for majority of the players that deserve the recognition for the season. There's maybe a handful of guys that are on the bubble that were selected that are like, you know what, that could have been this guy or this guy or this guy. So be but for the majority of the guys that were selected, it is recognition for how good of a season they are and obviously how important they are to their team. So kudos to you guys for handling it. I like consistency between the AHL and obviously all three leagues. It's nice to have that same consistency. So as a player works his way through his career, he understands that if I can meet these milestones and make this stuff, then obviously I'll make the criteria for the All-Stars at all three tiers. Same with the awards. I like how you guys handled the awards last season in the CHL. I kind of threw you the criteria from the past, and you guys tweaked it to meet the CHL requirements, which I think is something that we can put on paper and say, this is how we put together the panel and the voting, and this is how we actually pick the players. And everyone's going to have their own opinion, but at the end of the day, we do due diligence to show we did the best we could do to provide you something to look at. Because the alternative is we can just say fuck it, and you guys can not put the effort in your pudding, and then we don't have All-Stars, and then they bitch about that as well too. So at the end of the day,
it's win-lose, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, people just have to recognize that when it comes to awards and stuff, some of it's subjective, and we should just be thankful for people like you guys that are putting in countless hours of your own time, not being paid, to just provide content and just add additional levels of layers to this league, what makes it more important and more fun to be a part of. So that's what my kind of thoughts on that are.
Perfect.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, we definitely appreciate that 100%. And from my understanding, I believe the format we use is also going to be in the NHL. There was talk with the guy who's doing the NHL side, and he actually loved what we did and wants to stick with it. So I believe it's going through all three.
That's good.
From what I understand, anyways, all three leagues are following the same format.
That's good, man. Like I said, consistency is. I enjoy.
It's huge. It's key. I mean, I was the same with the All-Star voting, and last year I believe you took our All-Star criteria to the Xbox side, I believe, and they kind of followed it. So it's good to see that it's not just this side; it's also the Xbox side falling into this criteria needs.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the thing. Like our Xbox side, we had media is one of those things, right? It's like staff. It's like incredibly thankless, and you guys understand. You guys put countless hours into this. It gets to a point where if people aren't enjoying it and it becomes negative and toxic, you kind of lose your drive to do it. And the guys on staff feel that as well too. So it's hard to keep consistency in this. Like I've been running this league and running this community, like this stuff for 10 years of my life. Like I started when I was 20 and I'm 30 now. So I've been doing this for so long, and it's been consistent with me being here. But the issue is like the people that have been around me for a while, there's not a lot of consistency through staff because it takes a lot to be able to push yourself to continue to do this all the time. So, the Xbox side media was really strong at one point. Now it's kind of backed off. But even the interest in the league, I've noticed it. The Xbox league has been around for so long, and the same guys, same community, same players, same league, doing the same stuff. They just don't have the same level of.
I see a lot of transition from Xbox to PSN lately.
Yeah, that's because right now, like I know myself, I play in both leagues, and I enjoy the PlayStation side way more because the teams are more active and the players are just more excited to be here because they're in their 10th season, where the Xbox side is in their 33rd season, right? So just as an example, it's just one of those things that our older veteran players obviously enjoy what we put out. But they're almost at a point now where they just don't have that spark. It's not that brand new relationship per se, like the PlayStation side has.
Right. Yeah. We were still very young. I remember being in season 1 when it was basically a shit show.
Yeah, no, for sure. took a long time to be able to.
I kind of fell that shit show spot and did my own bad moves,
Yeah. No, definitely. Like I think after 10 seasons, we were able to accomplish what I wanted to get to with this league, to bring it to the consistency and like the quality that our Xbox product is as well too, which is something I've really strived towards. And that comes down to obviously putting the right people in the right staff positions. I've had a lot of really good staff on the PlayStation side, come and go or still here. And then obviously making sure we put the right people in management positions to help run the league. Once we got some experience under our belt and we were able to handle the league properly, then obviously we set ourselves up for the success we have now. And the league is kind of running itself. There's not a lot of issues. So yeah, it's been really, really good.
Awesome. Dreams, do you have any more questions for McDonald? And McDonald, did you have any more information we want to bring out?
No, I don't have anything else to pass on
for this side. I think that's all I had for tomorrow. I got a lot more for you, but
yeah, no, for sure. I'll definitely prepare for tomorrow, and I'm looking forward for the CHL show as well.
Awesome.
I'll write you some PMs today about some questions that I do have, so you're prepared, ready to go.
Yeah, sounds good.
Right on. Appreciate again your time, buddy. I know you had a busy day with work and whatnot, and you made it here just in time for the show. I appreciate your efforts as well for being here, and we always welcome your presence.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. Take it easy. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah. All right, so that's LG McDonald coming in there, giving us some league updates and some good information on what we should be looking forward to when it comes to trade deadline, waiver deadline, all that fun stuff. Thanks again to him for popping in. Next show Sunday at 4 p.m. He will be back with us to kind of go over the same information we went through in the AHL as well as the CHL. So tune in 4 o'clock, Choirs and Cups.
There's definitely be a couple new things as well, so make sure you do tune in for that. But for the most part, yeah, you're right. It'd be the same kind of guideline.
Same topic, different rules, right? CHL and AHL have different rules, so keep that in mind. But yeah, that's our interview with LG McDonald, and we're actually bringing in a second interview to follow up, and that's Mr. MD Conman, the Assistant General Manager of the Springfield Thunderbirds, as well as the Commissioner of SNP, first-time LG All-Star and LG All-Star Captain. Welcome to the show, MD Conman.
Yeah, it's a long list. Hey, guys. I should get a life or something.
To take respect for in as firsts, But welcome to the show. You guys got to look at the screen now. Look at the twins. They're not twins. They don't know each other, but they're twins. And I don't know, man. It kind of blows my mind. Is it blowing your mind? 'Cause it's blowing mine.
Well, see, I was gonna ask Conman over here. How do you handle that pressure? I mean, third line shitter in the CHL. You look so much like me. How do you escape that bubble, right?
Dark takes the rope.
So, I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. I just genuinely have a passion for getting involved with the things that I care about and trying to see them grow and be a direct influence on them becoming something that I hope they become.
Okay, in that breath, that's why I even called Doc up wants to play for you, because you're not passionate about him.
Hey, I traded for his rights when I got the chance.
He sure did. But yes, third line shitter is not necessary in the AHL. I get it. It's fine. But I mean, again, thanks for being on here, Conman. It's been a lot of fun. We've known each other for a while. And obviously you're having some success in the AHL with the Thunderbirds. I mean, it's a very, very tight-knit race in the conference that you're in. And you're sitting fourth right now, right? We're only seventh.
So dark that the Thunderbirds have been a threat for like 3-4 seasons.
Yes. Well, and again, for Conman, this is his first year in management. I believe he was with the team last season just as a goalie. So coming back and taking a bit more off, but you guys are only 4 points ahead of 7th place. So again, like I said, really, really tight in the division, right? So what do you feel needs to happen, or what kind of edge do you feel you have that will keep you up in that higher end and in a playoff spot?
So it's been a tight division all season. We were 7th at one point with enough points to be 2nd or 3rd in most of the other divisions. So we're pretty happy to have secured any kind of a lead on having 4th place and making the playoffs as of right now. Definitely throw it out there to just our patience to just stay true with it, keep the guys engaged, don't let them quit on it, and just get that chemistry. Everyone else, I'm watching this trade block, and it's just trade after trade after trade after trade, and like that's what I feel like that was their downfall last season. We blew the team up too many times and never got the chemistry before the playoffs.
And that part's huge. I mean, sorry to cut you off, but you're
No, you're fine.
right. I mean, it's totally huge. I mean, I see teams, even the CHL, do that, where it's trade week after week. You need to give a week or two for chemistry to build before you say this guy really doesn't belong here.
Yeah, exactly. No, so that's something that I give. I don't remember who managed it or not last season, but that's something I give all the praise in the world to Bridgeport last season. Before the second round of the playoffs, we had the winter break, and I swear every single club game I played during that break was against Bridgeport, practicing for the second round of the playoffs, and they swept us. They crushed it. So that's something we've been adamant about. Is
you can go with.
Just give it that time.
You traded for. If there's no chemistry, those AllStars mean nothing.
Those points are great and all, but what you're going to do once you've got a team of guys that can actually put those points up? It's the same way I won World Juniors when I managed there. It was about get the right players that are playing the same kind of game and play well together. They'll beat anyone.
Well, I mean, honestly, the World Junior, I carried your entire team, so.
Playing out position. Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with Beaver Clops and Bigfoot, Kota Chota, all those guys. It was clearly me playing third line left wing. That was what did it.
Well, you could be me playing left wing and just fucking completely shit the bed. So it's all right.
But congrats on to the strength you've had this season. But with that said, it's far from over, right? You guys still have 3 more.
You got a huge battle with only being 4 points out of 7 to get a huge battle ahead. Do you guys think you'll overturn that? You guys will climb this week, or do you think you'll kind of stay as par as where you are?
I'm hoping that we can keep growing even further, especially with some of the teams that are ahead of us. Even they're making a lot of deals, and it's just I mean, as a competitor, I hope the best for them that works out, that they can get all their chemistry sorted out. But some of them, I'm looking at the names, some of these guys don't seem like the best teammates that are getting moved around, and that doesn't seem like a great recipe to get more strength going as the season's getting to the tough part now.
Yeah, for sure. And with that being said, who do you view as your biggest threat down the stretch here in the regular season? And then if you are able to secure a playoff spot, who do you view as the biggest threat there?
Within my division, it's definitely the slow climb of the Bruins. They're just keeping at it. They're not getting discouraged. But in the East as a whole, so playoffs and all that, Rochester, myself included, but everyone likes to hate on them for scrub hunting. But you know what? They don't have to. And I'm sure when it comes playoffs time, they'll be putting their best out there to prove that. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you can sit there, you can know that John Kenny's going to roll out there with that 6'7" power forward and just L2 you to death. But until you can actually stop it, you could bet on what's going to happen.
Exactly. I was American 2 seasons ago as a TC, and I had a chance to play them a couple times, and just phenomenal skill on that team. And again, it shows to shine again this season. It's definitely a team you cannot sleep on.
Yeah.
As much as you say, guys want to say they scrub hunt, they do this, they do that. It doesn't matter what they do; they seem to overcome regardless.
Yeah.
Within saying that, I'm going to bring you to a new question. We'll get off this topic for 4 points ahead, 7, from 7th, yada yada yada. What's been your biggest challenge, given all of the commitments to LG so far?
I'd say if anything, my biggest shortcoming and challenge I struggle with is being able to go the extra mile on each of these commitments. For getting ready for bidding for the AHL meant kind of zoning out a little bit on SNP, things like that. Trying to give my most to SNP on a Saturday night. Realistically, there's more nights of the week than that. If we want to have a club week that actually goes well, we need to be a couple of nights ahead on that, letting the league know so everyone can get their groups together. So it's really just the ability to put that extra mile in on any of the different commitments that I have, juggling, answering the DMs and everything like that. Definitely the biggest part of it.
100%.
For sure. What's been your and what's been your biggest surprise, positive, and disappointment for the season?
Honestly, I'd probably have to go with within my own team anyway. Biggest surprise was that we played quite as good of offense as we've been starting to play. It's one of those things, when you build a team on chemistry, you're kind of just hoping that you're right that it's going to get there. So it's been not necessarily a surprise, but really good. But I got to say, if I'm going to pick any other surprise in the entire league, I'm probably going to go with shout out to Tucson Roadrunners in 4th place in their division. Even if it is a shitty division, Like, shout out to them fighting their way out of
And
being.
we'll get that later on, definitely, about how that division's working out.
Yeah. But shout out to them doing the work to get out of the trash.
And I figure, look at me talk. I figure from what we understand earlier talking, you're going to stick with us through the whole show and kind of break down stuff with us through the standings and whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
happy to.
We'd love to have you here for that. So, I mean, we'll definitely maybe let you take that category of section since you brought it up.
For sure. And then what's been your biggest disappointment, whether it's been within your own team, whether it's been throughout the league? What kind of surprised you in a negative way?
Man, I gotta say my own play is one thing. I don't necessarily take all the credit for that. Shout out EA. But this week was a rough one for me, and my backup really stepped up in carrying the team to a positive record. Still, I went 1-4 this week, and I let up 15 goals in the first 3 games. Regardless of how I feel like I actually played or not, I feel like I stood on my head just to even only allow that many. I got to say, biggest disappointment has been, while I like a lot of the things EA is doing with the game, user goalies there's no being a good one. There's just being a less bad one right now.
For sure.
Yeah, at this point, it's really what it is.
Going further, marching on forward, do you think more about that question, Dark, you want to feed into, or are you done at that? Or
yeah, I think we're done with the interview portion. Why don't we roll ourselves on to
I got another question for him.
Sure, go ahead.
For sure. Who do you feel is your biggest threat this season? Not just the regular season, but also in playoffs coming into it.
I mean, like I said before, Rochester within the East. If I was picking like a Calder Cup, for instance, I think if we can get past them in the playoffs whenever we face them, I think we'll get it all the way to the Calder. But San Antonio is starting to look like San Antonio again, man. Like, if I'm going to pick anyone, like Barracuda are just beating everybody up in that division, but I don't think it's a very good division. San Antonio is really starting to look like San Antonio.
Okay. I guess final to continue that question on to you. Who is your pick to make the finals for the Calder, and who's going to win it?
Yeah, I think it'll be San Antonio from the West. I gotta say, I just don't think Barracuda are tested enough with their roster right now. They're just beating up on bad teams. They lost 3 games straight at the end of this week.
Yeah.
So I think San Antonio for the West, and honestly, I really think that if things keep going the way they're going, the way we're gaining, like as long as we can get past Rochester and the Checkers, I think it's us. Honestly, we're built on a deep team. I don't think teams might have better first lines than us, but I don't think there's any team that has as many deep lines as us. Nah, us.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a prediction, man. I'm going to follow that all season, all playoffs. I'm going to follow that, and I'm going to cover some of your games because of it.
Yeah, fine with me, man. Get ready for some great saves.
Jay Koch is in net, right?
We'll follow that. I'm going to take that prediction to the tooth and bone, man. I'm going to take it down to the bitter fucking end. I just hope.
At the very least, you're going to take it to the bottom of that bottle. That's for sure.
Hey, man, if more likes, we'll get that bottle. All right.
But yeah, so I think it's
2 shots. Likes get 1. So fucking bring it on.
But yeah, with that being said, I think it's the interview portion we have.
The power rankings, buddy.
Yeah, let's go to the power rankings. I'll kick us off with the forwards here.
Forwards, can you do that, man? I'm going to use the little boys' room. Will you two break down the forwards and then who's not? I'll be back for it. Who happens? But go ahead and break it down.
For sure. Who's taking the over under on how drunk Dreams gets in this show? Because I'm thinking he's already half in the bag, but we'll see. So kicking off the power rankings, who's not for the forwards? Sorry, who's hot rather for the forward side? Number 1 and winning the award for Player of the Week is Le Capidon of the Hershey Bears, going 3-0, putting up 16 points, 7 of which were goals, and a +8 coming in the left wing spot. Congrats to you for the top spot on Player of the Week. Number 2 is Sessman of the Providence Bruins. Like you mentioned, they're starting to really turn it around and push towards that top.
For sure.
Going 3-0 as well, 13 points, 9 goals, +8. Also plays left wing. Good job to him. Coming at number 3, winning that final Player of the Week award is Ninja Gamers 762. 3-0, 13 points, 9 goals, +10, playing the center slot. Congrats to those 3 guys for winning Player of the Week for the forward position. Coming at number 4 here, we have the Americans CHL legend, 3-0, 15 points, 5 goals, +11, and also a center. And last week, I think we had some more Americans. Maybe they're not putting up as many points as they once were, but are still doing very well as a team.
For sure.
Number 5 here, we got Who's Duke, 3-0, 13 points, 6 goals, +8, playing both center and right wing. So pretty much wherever you put him on the forward spot, he's going to put up points and he's going to win games.
Showing that versatility there.
Yes, definitely. Coming at number 6 here, we got the Lake Erie. Is it Lake Erie Monsters, or did they change that name as well? Cleveland Monsters. Cleveland Monsters. Yes, sorry. Fucked seems to be his name.
FUQT.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with fucked. Going 3-0, 11 points, 6 goals, +2, right wing. Number 7, we got
a lot of 3-0s on this list this week.
Yeah, pretty much everyone's 3-0 up until you get to like 20th spot. So I mean, that sort of seems to be the bar that you have to hit.
Yeah.
Coming at number 7 is Tough Cuts YT, who also 3-0. 10.7 goals, +4, right wing. Number 8 is another monster, No Blood 777, putting up 11 points, 5 goals, +3, coming in left winger. Number 9, Greggy 99 of the Laval Rocket, putting up 15 points, 3 goals, +10, also a right winger. And last but not least is the Penguins' Mr. Freddie 1994, 10 goals, 5 assists, +9 in the right wing slot. Congrats to all you guys who made it in the top 10. Keep on trucking. Let's see if you can finish out the rest of the season strong. Looking on this who's not side, do you guys see anyone that really stands out for you, who maybe shouldn't be there or you wouldn't expect to see there?
To me, sorry to cut you off quickly, man. I have one for sure before you jump in, buddy. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Slap me silly. It's all right. Tiberius Magnus, 0-3 for the Moose. It really kind of offsets me a little bit seeing him there. I know what he's worth, what he can do, and I expect better, buddy. Come on.
For sure.
Tibbs definitely up there for me too, but Hedman from the Sound Tigers, depending on who you ask around the league, some people think he's a sworn tried and true first liner, but big bad 0-2-1 week with 2 points, no goals, -3.
Yeah, not a great week.
I got skills sitting at 0-2-1. I mean, I got skills, definitely got some skills. And to see him sitting there at 0-2-1 this week with only 1 point and a -3 is kind of surprising for me.
There's a few different guys on this list that I would definitely consider to be not commonplace for this kind of standing, but hopefully they can find a way to kick it up a notch and show that this is a 1 week aberration.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move us along to the defense if you want to run us down for that, Dreams.
Yeah, buddy, I got all over this. I'm going to talk number 1 first here, man. But first of all, one of your boys, as I tapped him first date playing 2 games in ECU, I believe, this week. Coming to 6 points, 1 goal, and +10, and a left D/right D slot playing both sides in his 2 games. So obviously 1 apiece. Still putting up 6 points as a defender as an ECU is huge. So congrats to him. And obviously he gets tougher teams considering his APR is at 78.3. That's fantastic for an ECU, showing what he really can do. I don't know if he's a prospect or amateur. I really don't remember. I know I'm CHL. Is he a prospect? Okay, he's a prospect. So there is no call-up risk there, but it's surprising good look.
Some good production there from a backup.
I definitely look at him being a possible, obviously, at this point in time with this kind of stat line, a draft guy.
Maybe.
I'm going to put on the list there, see how he finishes out the season.
Definitely, but he did not get a star this week. He did not get an award for this week, considering he was an ECU. So we're going to go to our first award week winner, which is Dakota Pie from the Roadrunners.
Shout out to my guy.
Shout out to your guy. Dakota Pie is not he likes to bake those pies, but he's not really, don't laugh.
But only he's in Dakota,
He has to be in Dakota for that stuff, right? If he's in anywhere else, he's not making it happen. But obviously this week, he baked some good stuff for the Roadrunners, coming in at 3-0, 5 points, and a +6 in the right D slot. He definitely baked his pie this week in Tucson. So congrats to him for that. He skipped out of Dakota for once and made apple pie smell great. In Tucson. In Tucson. Number 2 overall coming in for the Erie Monsters, or I think it's Erie. It used to be Erie. Maybe now it's something different.
It's Cleveland.
It's Cleveland? Okay, it used to be Erie in my day in the AHL, so now it's Cleveland Monsters coming in again with 5 points, 2 goals, +6 on lefty right D slot, playing just 3 games, 74.9 APR. So playing some tougher teams as well, obviously, showing that he can handle a bit of challenge and win that award for himself. Congrats to him. 4th overall, but 3rd in our star ranking this week is Eggman from the Eagles. Eggman -1, by the way, could be correct that properly.
I think his 5th team of the season, right?
I believe it's his 5th if not, it could be fourth. It might be fifth.
He's
But
got bounced around a lot, but good on him for just keeping at it.
He's been traded a few times, but he's definitely showing why he's a hot number to be traded for. But coming in with 4 points, 1 goal, a +8 in lefty slot, showing what he's worth. Good job on him. Number 5, we have an all-star nominee coming in here, Neil Rambo, 35 from the Rockets. 3-0 this week, 4 points, 1 goal, a +9 on the right D slot. Coming in at 6 overall, my boy, I've known him since season 1 on my TC, brought him up, killed it, rocked it, hit AHL for a while. Now he's here in the AHL. Snipe shot, 21. We'll skip the X's. We'll just call him Snipe shot at this point in time. Only playing 2 games this week, but still 2 points with a +7 on the left D slot, which he's known as a winger. So to see him play left D and still have a good week is phenomenal. Number 7 overall, we have Tracks on Wax. Playing 3 games this week for Providence Bruins. Up 2 points, up 1 goal, +8 on the lefty slot. Good showing for him. Coming up next is my former teammate when I was playing in Season 8 Giants as a GM. A guy we scouted and kept hidden and quiet. Got a 500K, was a star player for our team. Definitely shining, obviously, again in the AHL for the Devils. It's Pixel Pond. 3-0, 4 points, 1 goal, and a +3 on the right D side. Coming in 9th overall, another former Giant from last season. Had a stellar year at left wing on the Giants last season, playing obviously on the left D this season, taking a switch, but still showing he can shine no matter where he plays. Is Freezor, 3-game win streak, 3 points, 0 goals, +8 left D slot. And last but not least, our top 10 is we have Apollo 77. This guy's been around the league, I believe, since season 1. It might be season 2. I think season 1 is when he first came in at. He's been here for a long time. And finally, first time I've seen, at least in my business, hitting top 10. Congrats for him. He deserves it. He's a hell of a player. He's had some rough goals with some shitty teams in the past, but definitely showing why he is worth what he's worth. Coming in 3-0 this week, 5 points, 1 goal, and a +4 in the right D slot. Anybody who's not that's standing out?
Yeah, so for me, I'd have to point out a couple here. I'll just take one in case you guys have some overlap. Coming at number 3 here, Dodge's Blue Shells. Really solid player from what I've known. Going 0-3 with a -11. And I know he's on the Marlies, who are not having a standout year, but that's still a little bit surprising to me. I'd like to see him off this list next week and the following weeks. How about you there, Conman?
Definitely, if talking who's not, but definitely does not deserve it. Bar down Brando, definitely one of my preferred lefties in the league, and DZ Hay at right D. At least DZ's a little bit further down the list, so he's a little bit closer to being off it. But those two definitely better D-men than the numbers say this past week.
I have one myself, which is Greeno, 1882 from the Texas Stars. I think he's a management. I think he's GM, I believe.
Yes.
Or AGM, one of the two. But to see him go 0-2-1 with a -3 in lefty this week is kind of shocking. I know him to be better of a D guy than that. I think that it's just a luck of shock that he hit this down slide this week. I expect more out of him, and I believe he can do more than he's showing this week. I don't expect to see him here next week.
For sure. One guy I want to give a shout out on this list, DLC Junior 75. The only advice I can give him to get off this list is stop scoring on your own goalies, man.
Make sure when that puck is loose, do not skate in, because animation likes to give it to you to score. Just skate the fuck away.
Yep. Season 4 World Juniors. I think he led the team in scoring, but just on the wrong side of the ice.
Yeah. He put quite a few in my net that season.
Yep.
But definitely. I love that guy. Good guy for sure.
Yeah. All right, and then last but not least is our who's hot for goalie. Do you want to run us down that, Mr. Conman?
Yeah, sure. I got that one. Coming in number 1, Laval Rocket, Tyler Loki, 3-0 on the week with a 101.8 APR.
Going about Loki, he's been a buddy of mine for a long time, and he was my season 1 goaltender on, I guess, your team. But back then it was the Springfields back then, and he was my number 1 goaltender back then, and again showing why he was my number 1 choice.
Yeah, keeping it under a 1 goals against average at 0.67 with 95 saves. Didn't face a lot of shots, but I mean, hey, that just means the defense is doing their job.
Yep.
Definitely shout out to him. Managed to keep that 0.67 with only 1 shutout as well, so that really means he's just keeping that puck low. Number 2 on the list, Darkness Lord 67.
No, this is the guy I always used to confuse with Dark Side.
Everybody does. Everybody does.
I remember one time we had a party chat we were going to do, or a game invite. It was a game invite, and he's like, "Did you really invite me?" I was like, "Yeah." With the Darkness Lord, I was like, "Oh shit."
Smooth. Nice. Yeah, I can see that. But he rocked the 4-0-1, not even playing the minimum there. 1.15 goals against, 91.4 save percentage. Again, only one shutout, so really doing work to just keep those low-scoring games alive, keep his team in it. Number 3, definite shout out, my backup goalie, Jaycock33, Jay Coach. I don't know, I would call him JC.
I call him Jay Koch usually. He was in the CHL last season, and he was a great guy, great person.
No, solid guy. Can be a little talkative sometimes for some people, but then he'll just mute you, you know. 4-0 on the week, keeping my team alive on my underperformance to make sure that we're getting the positive record still. 1.24 goals against, 87.5 save percentage, only the one shutout in a big game. Offense was alive that game. Definite shout out to him taking care of the team while I was dropping the ball or the puck. Ran out of the top 5, BCNYY02 and McBangbang 22.
This guy, BCNY, fucking hates me. He is not happy at all with my AllStar picks. He fucking hates me. It's all right.
It happens. Play tougher opponents, you'll get it on.
That's all I got to say.
Definitely some solid guys there. Definitely some solid performances. Gotta love it when you see the backup goalies getting their names up there.
100%.
On to the who's not. Anyone you guys want to call out before I just run through the list?
Yeah, I'll skip through here real quick. Yagmir, this is 2 weeks in a row for him, not having a great season. 11 goals against in 2 games, 585 in save percentage. That's a big rip. I've known him to be a better goalie. I don't know if it's the defense in front of him or if it's the fact that it's the AHL talent versus the CHL talent where he faced last season, but not having a great go. I'll just touch upon him because I know there's a couple on this list I'm sure you guys will want to touch.
There's a couple I got as well I want to bring out, which number one for me is Tangelis. He's been a dominant goaltender in the CHL for a while. One of the toughest goalies to beat, and to see him come out here and go 0-2 in the AHL just isn't the Tangelis I know. Mm-hmm. So again, maybe like you said, maybe it's a bit to do with the defense in front of him. But I expect more out of him to be brought up higher than the CHL and looked at better in the AHL than what he showed here. My last guy I got to mention is our All-Star nominee, who's been rocking it this season. Even though his team is kind of shaky, he's still been rocking it. St. Louis Stash coming in with a 4.56 goals against average, 1.31 in his record this week, and a 75.5 goals against average. I expect more out of him.
Yeah, I got to imagine he's going to have a bounce back. I've known Stash for a couple of seasons. Definitely a better goalie than his numbers show this week. Must have just been getting rocked. I can definitely relate on that one. This past week was rough for me too, so I'm sure we'll see him back up off that list after this week.
For sure.
Speaking upon that, do you have anyone else you want to mention to us, DM?
Stash was definitely going to be my biggest pick there in terms of guys that I definitely think deserve to be off that list next week. Other than that, not really a whole lot of guys that you don't expect to see there. Definitely hurts the team though with McLaren going 0-6
has been around for a while, and he's definitely known
that 0-6. You definitely hate to see that big one there, taking the full starter responsibilities and just getting beat up. Yeah,
for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's push on past the next couple of categories on to
great team rankings.
10. Yeah,
I'm gonna go do top 4, buddy. This week I'm gonna give you top 5 to 8.
Okay.
Let's finish off with DM doing 9 and 10.
Sure. So coming in top spot here, we have the Laval Rocket, 8-1-0, 37 goals for, 13 against, plus 24 on the goal differential, plus 35 on the shot differential, 33% on the power play, 94.1 on the PK, -8 on the faceoffs, and 2340 positive on the differential, jumping up from 4th to 1st. You look at every single one of these stats. They produce a lot of goals. They don't let a lot in. Both their special teams are fantastic.
It's crazy.
Every one of their stats here is good. The only one is faceoffs, but it doesn't seem to be hurting them in the slightest. So good job to them this week, taking top spot and earning it.
I think -8 really. What the hell is that?
Yeah, -8 faceoffs. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And under that, it's like 0.95.
Yeah. Coming in number 2 here, we have the Monsters, who went 8-0-1, scoring 33 goals, only allowing 19, going plus 14 in the goal differential, plus 17 in the shot differential, 36.4 on the power play, 84.6 on the PK, plus 24 on the faceoffs, an extra 13.23 on time on attack, and jumping all the way up from 23rd to 2nd this week. So a big turnaround from week 5 to week 6. Good job there, Monsters. Keep it up. Yeah. Coming to number 3 here, we have the Charlotte Checkers, who went 7-1. I'm guessing there was a forfeit somewhere in there. Getting 33 goals for, 14 goals against, plus 19 on the goal differential, plus 44 on the shot differential. Only 11.1 on the power play, so not capitalizing as much as you'd like to see on those extra man chances. But making up for it with an 84.6 on the PK, plus 4 on the faceoffs, and 8 minutes above on time on attack differential. So good on these guys for working through it. But yeah, number 4, we got the Penguins, 7-2 with 37 goals for, 18 goals against, a plus 19 goal differential, plus 84 on the shot differential, 20% on the power play, 81.3 on the PK, and a plus 8 in the faceoffs, and a positive 26.40, which, as far as I can see, is the highest on this
number.
list.
It's a big number.
It is. Yeah, they are definitely doing a great job of keeping teams hemmed in their own zone.
Yeah, definitely.
And jumping up from number 11 to number 4. So congrats to those top 4 teams. Keep it going. Dreams, you want to take us over through 5 through 8?
Yeah, for sure, man. Coming in for 5th overall is the Bruins this week at 6-2-1 with a goal differential of 38, 4, and 15 against, a plus 23 for themselves. 104 shot differential. They're just peppering goaltenders. They're just laying that shot aspect down.
Yeah.
Making sure that they get those rebounds, the greasy stuff. Be careful of that. Obviously, that's what they're going for, is the rebound stuff.
For sure, and I had one of their players now on their roster this season is Shambi. I'm sure Conman members facing him in the World Juniors as well. Led the league in Season 8 for shots for. He does not wait to shoot. Like, just fires.
Yeah, be careful of that going forward. I mean, if you guys want to stop the Bruins, you want to shut them down,
don't let them get those shots off and clean up those rebounds, man.
Help the goalie out. Take care of the rebounds. Let the shots not get taken. But if you can't do it, they're going to pepperize and they're going to compromise and they're going to capitalize on all those chances they get. So just keep that in mind. Coming to PP percentage, they're at 33.3%. And the PK, they're at 88.9. A face-off plus 19 and TOA 17.34. Jump from 25th spot last week to plus 5. So a good 20-spot jump this week on their behalf. Congrats on them and good on them as well. Coming in 6th overall, we got the Devils at 7-2-0 this week. 34 goals for, 16 against, a plus 18 in that category, plus 46 in the shot differential, 36.8 in the power play percentage, and 87.5 on the PK deficiency, and a plus 28 in the faceoff percentage. So, I mean, definitely winning the PK and definitely winning the faceoffs, but they're not doing so hot in TOA. They're not horrible, but not doing so hot. They're about a minute, no, less than that, about 45 seconds per game upon teams on the TOA. But still jumping 20th to 6th this week. Still a good climb for them. 7th overall, we have the Rampage coming in. And I have a bit of comments about these guys, but I'm going to get that in a few minutes. There are 31 goals for, 21 goals against, a plus 10, and a plus 29 in shot differential. But we look at their PP and their PK. That's something to me they really got to get a little more grips on. And what I say by that is we look for 100% in total margin numbers upon these two numbers, and you guys are just below that. So I expect a little more out of your PP. Your PK isn't horrible, but your PP needs to pick it up a little bit. They need to get a little more production going on the power play. Maybe play more like the Bruins are and just get shots on net. Go for that dirty, greasy stuff. But within saying that, they're still at we'll say 13 minutes at TOA. And jumping or falling from 3rd to 7th this week. Does somebody have anything else to follow up with that?
Yeah, again, if they can get their special teams in order, I mean, they've obviously been a strong team this whole season, and they are a dominant team out there. But it seems to be that their special teams is that one thing that's just a little bit off. If they can get that chugging, I think they're
definitely going to pick it up a little bit.
With they've definitely made some moves coming up at the deadline here, so definitely look for them to have a how big of a bounce back week can you have only dropping the 7th? But look for a big bounce back from the Rampage.
And being 7-2, I mean, you can't ask for more than that. I think for a playoff coming, it's around the corner. We're talking about that now more than anything else. Being so low in the PP, you really got to be more productive on that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for them, that at least they're out in the West. You look at this top 10 list. You got 2 West teams on the list, so at least the competition's not making them earn it as much.
That is true. 8th overall coming in, we have the Americans coming at 7-2 this week with 35 goals for 17 against, and plus 18 in that category, tying with the Devils in that plus 18 category. 51 shot differential, so not really hemming in teams in shot differential. But they are on the PP and the PK at 36.0 and 76.5. So they're over that 100% aspect like, and they're not doing horrible on it. I like to see more of a 40% to 50% on the power play, but still 36 ain't bad. You can't shake a leg at that. 57% in the face-off draw, so they're winning draws like crazy. 9 divided by 57 is what? 10, 11 games where they're like plus 1 or more on face-offs. TOA 25, 26 will round up to on that, and also falling from 1st to 8th, but still you can't get mad about that being 7-2. I mean 7-2 in this league, and still being dropped from 1st to 7th. You really can't frown at that. You still gotta be happy with your week and come out strong coming forward. I don't expect them to fall any much further than I expect to see them top 10 again next week, if not higher than 8th. I was saying that, DM, you want to bring us to 9 and 10th?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So number 9, Bears. Big shout out to them too. They just keep trucking. They were 12th last week. They're up to 9th this week. Any other division in the league, like they'd be on an absolute comeback right now. But just unfortunately, that East Atlantic is nasty this season. 6-3 on the week. They had the 29 goals for, 21 goals against. Pretty tight on that goal differential. You span that out a little bit, man. More, probably win a couple more games, but can't be unhappy at 6-3. Plus 53 shot differential. They're shooting the puck. 31.8 power play, 73.9 PK. Got to get that PK up a little bit more for sure. Plus 43 in the face-off. Only an 858 time on attack advantage. So like I said, getting a little bit more strength of holding on to that game, and they probably have a couple more wins there this week.
Definitely. And yeah, you see them jumping from 12th to 9th, so slowly climbing their way back up. I mean, it's going to be a tough uphill battle being that they're in the division that they're in, but it's still a chance. There's still 3 more weeks. Season's not
and
done
with
yet.
4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th being so tight, all they got to do is just start capitalizing on that, grab teams by the throat a little bit more. They're right back in it.
Exactly.
Coming at number 10, the Eagles, 6-2-1 on the week. They're rocking that 32 goals for, 23 goals against, plus 9 differential, minus 2 on the shot differential. So not really shooting the puck as much as you would expect for a team that went 6-2-1. And yet getting the 38.1 power play and only a 60% PK. So that's where you're going to see that kill you on that shot differential that you would expect. Minus 81 in faceoffs, probably hurting their PK unit as well. And a positive 304 on the time on attack, up from 13th to 10th. Not too surprising. It didn't move much more than that when you're letting the other team still have that much say in the games. Shout out on the 6-2-1 though. If you guys are cool with it, I've got 2 things I want to shout out real quick within these team rankings.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shout out number 11, Phantoms, dealing with some drama in their management lineup and still managing to simultaneously blow up the team and have a good week at the same time. So just wanted to give them a quick shout out there. Still in the runnings for everything, still fighting after their slide there. And not just from the personal bias, but Thunderbirds with the 100% penalty kill this week. Just got to say 100% penalty kill. You hate to see the 18.8 power play percentage, but defense doing its job. All the guys contributing there for a 100% penalty kill.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, congrats to all the teams that made this top 10. Fuck the Thunderbirds, and yeah.
If I can give one last just general shout out before we move on too much to anything else.
Sure.
Go on.
I know this is largely an AHL and kind of CHL broadcast, but definitely if anyone doesn't already know about SNP, as commissioner, I'd be remiss if I didn't give it a quick shout out. Saturday nights, if you guys are ever looking to anything to do, we actually enter stats. Especially shout out to any CHL players watching that are looking to get a name for themselves. Maybe you're not on a great team. Definitely a chance to show what you can do on an off night for the league and get some stats recorded going there.
For sure.
There you go.
For sure.
I mean, one of my D guys this year, all he did was FMP, SMP. and he's now one of the, I mean, in my opinion, one of the top D guys in the CHL. And I think he's going to be drafted quite high. It doesn't show in his stats, but I mean, you can't blame that based upon what
Yeah,
I've
I mean,
done.
it's great. If nothing else, it's a great way to network, get some more exposure with AHL teams. So
He definitely has that, and I believe he's still going to be a top guy, but he got known because of FNP status.
yeah,
For sure.
Let's move forward, though, into the standings here, bud. Let's jump a little forward more into that. I do have to call out, though, Dark, to you a little bit here. You got called out in our chat
Oh yeah.
by Act Skills
Oh, okay.
that he friggin' hates, that you friggin' hate him, or AKA Papa Chungus.
I have nothing against Axe himself. I mean, I will admit he kicked the shit out of me in an S&P game once, but outside of that, I got nothing, not really nothing against him whatsoever.
He's referring to the Discord ban.
Yes, yes, that was. We'll deal with that later at a PM. But yeah, there's some stuff there. No, I have nothing against you, Axe. I mean, there's very few players in this league I personally dislike. If you're someone who's given me any kind of trouble, I don't give you too much thought. So no, I don't have any grudge against you, buddy. Good luck this season with what team's he on? I'm trying to remember. Moose?
Jeez, I don't even recall.
I think he's with. I think he's with the Moose. Either way, wherever you are, buddy, good luck.
I had to call it out. He did call you out, so I had to call you out for him calling you out.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, nothing against you personally, buddy.
A little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, with that being said, let's move on to the scoring race for this season.
No, let's go standings. Go standings first.
Standings first, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to give DM again a chance to speak here. We're going to start with his division here, the Eastern Atlantic.
yeah. So it's been a fun one. Almost, I think pretty much 7 out of the 8 teams have spent some time in the playoff race already within those top 4 spots. You know, Lehigh Valley came out hot at the start of the season, just scoring goals left and right. Their defense has buckled a little bit behind them. Their goaltending TB can't keep up with it. But, you know, I mean, 7 out of 8 teams are literally just within 4 points of being in the playoffs. It's pretty crazy. You look down the list, 62 points in 7th place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would literally be 2nd place in the Western Central right now. It'd be 2nd place in the Western. You know, Western teams got to show up. Stop letting San Jose and San Antonio run over you. Make these Eastern Atlantic teams feel a little bit less bad about missing the playoffs if they do so. Number 1, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Baby Pens added again. New management group after all that drama last season.
Good.
Yeah,
but
rocking.
Going for themselves.
Say that again?
It's still good of them to keep it going for themselves and still climb, even though they did a big change in the offseason.
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to the NHL team picking out the right guys to keep that success going there. You know, they're rocking the 38-13-3 right now on the season. 182 goals, 423 against. They are the top team in that division right now for a reason. Tied with the Checkers, also known as the NHL team that's in the AHL team trying to win a Calder. You know, definitely nothing going on there. No hard feelings there.
Is that what no one has the NHL stack team?
Yeah, that's the NHL stack team. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm on the TC. And they don't talk to me really, so I mean,
yeah, that one I'm a doer rocking the NHL ownership there, just sending everybody the AHL squad. They started winning some games though, and took a couple players, so good to see that. Good to know that the NHL team's going to try at some point though. So you know, no hard feelings there, no bias at all. Bridgeport Sound Tigers rounding out 3rd, and of course my team, Springfield Thunderbirds, in 4th, rounding out the playoff spots.
You guys are nipping for that last spot. You guys are nipping.
Yeah. No, we we almost let it slide. I think we'd slipped back down to only a 1-point lead during the week, but stretched it back out with the 4-game win streak to end the week. Hartford trying to fight their way back in there. Definitely a solid team there. They were top ranks in the division for a while there. Bruins, like I shouted out earlier, just
so you got to have your kind of tails from your legs, kind of getting work like a dog, right? You got to make sure you're on your point for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. No, this division is not going anywhere right now. This race is going to be hard one to really let yourself get knocked out of. Even the Bears at 56 points in last place. They'd be 5th in the Eastern North. They'd be 4th. They'd be tied for 4th in the Western Central, and they'd be tied for 3rd in the Western Pacific. So like I said, shout out to them that they're still fighting and they're going at it. All 8 of these teams deserve to be playoff teams if everything could go their way. But just gonna keep on plugging there.
Yeah, for
Keep
sure.
on
And
talking, for
it's not dissimilar to the real NHL you see with the East being a little stronger in terms of standings. You look at the fact that there's, I think, to make it in the playoffs as of today, the Western Conference of the real NHL is, I want to say 85 points, where in the East it's like 92. Massive
Yeah.
gap, right?
massive.
Yeah, Eastern Atlantic, it's getting scary. Last season, there was a team that broke 100 points and missed the playoffs in the Eastern Atlantic, and it's looking like we could very easily have 2 or 3 that do that this season in the Eastern Atlantic. So,
For sure.
not a fun division to be in.
No, well, I mean, depends on what you're defining as fun, right?
If you're a masochist and you like to really earn it.
Yeah, well, I do know guys like that. Like, I'll shout out the Rochester Americans, Black Paladin. I had him last season in the CHL, and he would bug me every single week. He would bug me and ask me, "Hey, put me against the top teams. Put me against the tough games. I don't want to play easy games. I want to earn my victories." And I can appreciate that. So if you're someone who has that similar mentality, this is a more exciting race, right? Like, you look at somewhere, like you said, the Central, where they've got a 16-point lead on second place. The Rampage are going to make it.
Yeah.
Right, like, unless they blow up, they're going to make it. Where I think adversity makes teams stronger, right? So if you had to battle through a bunch of teams that are closely related in skill, it's going to make you a better group.
Way better playoff team. Your lines are going to be deeper. Even if you are scrub hunting or something, like your third line keeping you alive enough to have that kind of a lead.
100%. To win a Calder, you need all 3 lines.
Yeah, 100%, because, your first line can only play so many games.
Exactly.
That third line's got to win a game somewhere.
Exactly.
Backup goalie's got to win a game.
Do you want to bring us to the Eastern North?
Yeah, sure, I'll take care of that for us. So coming in taking top spot here is the Rochester Americans. They've been holding this spot for most of the season. Coming in with a 39-13-2 record on a 5-game winning streak, plus 102. Which I'm looking now is best in the league for goal differential. I mean, the only time I see them not even struggling, but just not dominant, is in the 1-goal game. So against a team like this, if you can keep it tight towards the third period, you have a better chance than, if it's a 2-goal game or something like that, right? But yeah, shout out to the Americans. Good job this season, and go give them hell.
The Americans, though, not just this season, man. Let's touch base a bit on the past history. They've had a solid team for like 3 seasons.
For sure. And
they just keep going.
Yeah, and good on Jay Claus owning the Buffalo Sabres and doing a good job picking up good management season through season to make sure that they're not only successful at the NHL season or NHL level, but the AHL level as well.
You got to give Torres a nod too for 2 seasons in a row being GM here and doing what he's done for 2 seasons.
Yeah, no, that's it's not easy to do. You and I have both been in management, obviously not at the higher levels, but well, at least I haven't.
I have an AHL for 2 seasons, but I mean, it's never productive.
And it's tough. Yeah, it's really tough. You get a lot of turnover. You have to deal with a lot of adversity, a lot of different personalities, right? And to find a way to make that team strong year in, year out, it's difficult. So good on them for doing that. Coming at number 2 is Laval Rocket, who is 35-15-4, 1-game winning streak, plus 68. Only 6 points back of those Americans, and hopefully can kind of retake that top spot that I believe they did hold for a short period of time in the earlier weeks of the season. Then, 7 points back of the Rocket is the Devils, or the Monsters, and rounding out that top 4 for playoff spots. But it's a pretty tight race behind, it's not very tight race behind them, with the Senators being 12 points back. The odds of these teams, Senators down, making the playoffs are slim, but there are still a third of the season left. I mean, nothing's out of the question. We'll see how they finish out for the rest of the season and who ends up being where, but this playoff bracket looks pretty sealed up as of right now.
It definitely does. It looks pretty locked in, pretty solid. I mean, like you're saying, with Belleville being behind by what?
12 points.
12 points. I mean, they really got to go like 9-0 or 8-1, 7-2, and hope.
And they need some collapse from some of those top teams too in order for that team to be worth it.
They definitely need Cleveland to go like fucking 4-5 or 3-6. And I don't see it happening, unless, like, again, EA plays favors or something drastic happens. I think, prediction-wise, at least, anyways, that Belleville does not make it and Monsters keep their spot. If not Klein.
I would agree. But yeah, do you want to take us over to the Western Central there,
I'll
James?
go to the Central for sure. We're going to start off here with the San Antonio Rampage. This team, again, another team's in dynamite for multiple seasons. I believe they won it all last year.
They did, yes.
They did.
Yep.
Thank you for that. I remember that because someone tattooed themselves because of it, and congrats on him. I don't blame him at all for doing that. I tattoo myself every year that I do something in LG, management, media. I get a tattoo every year based upon what I've done in LG. So I mean, I totally respect him for doing what he did for winning the Calder last year and doing that. Good job on him. Hell of a job. Bang up. I respect you, man. But still coming in San Antonio, 76 points, 3-game win streak. They're 17, 6-4 in the 1-goal games. On again, thanks to 3-game win streak, 45 goal differential. I mean, that's huge. You look at the rest of the league on the goal differential, and there's nobody else really in the positives on the two teams who are like on the bubble. So to see the second and third and the negative aspect in goal differential really concerned me, which tells me these guys got this first place area locked in.
They do, yeah. And that part of that, the fact that 6th through 2nd is only a 6-point gap.
Exactly. So to me, they're locking in first. They're getting it hands down. And as Dean has mentioned a few times, watch out for these guys because they've made a few trades this week that's going to make them better than they already are. And they're probably a contender to actually go the stretch.
For sure.
Coming number 2nd overall, we got the Wild, who I believe last week were like bubble line, but 4th overall, now hitting 2nd in this league right now with 70. Oh, geez. I'm
60. 60
Where do
points.
I get 70 from? Somebody's five with 30, please. 27 wins, 22 losses, 3 overtime wins, 6 overtime losses, plus 60 points. -3 though in the win streak column, showing they've sort of faltered off in the last week. Not week.
Down the stretch of the week, yeah, they definitely,
the last day and a
trailed
half
down a
kind
little
of faltered off a little bit. Still in the -15 category. I think they were -24 last week, with -15 this week, showing they have climbed a bit in the goal differential, but still 11-6-1 in 1-goal games. So they are showing, win or not, they will close out in 1-goal game, but yet they still aren't rock solid in the one.
If I can, I want to pause for a second here and just give them a shout out. Coming into the season, it's hard to not think about how bad they were last season. And, obviously they made changes. It's not the same team, but a couple of guys on their roster really took some shots claiming what they were going to be this season. And props on them that down the stretch here, they're sitting second. They're sitting second right now in that Central. They're probably going to make the playoffs if they handle their shit.
Yeah. I think they're going to make it. I mean, even though how close it is, I think the Wild are going to climb. Looking at the goal differential in this week alone, I think they're going to climb.
Yeah, they got to watch for the Griffins, though, and especially ending the week on a 3-game losing streak. Griffins ended it with the win. They've got the 5-goal differential positive going on. I would keep an eye on them Griffins trying to make that run to be the one to unseat.
You can't laugh at or blink an eye yet. And same with the Moose. I mean, they're out now, but they could fight for that spot potentially. 5 games behind, 11 games behind. They could, but I don't see it.
I don't know. I respect to Chili. He's one of my guys. I've clubbed with him a lot over at Moose. But, they sent out Bar Down Brando. They waived Shizzle Manizzle. I got to say, I see them being a team that's trending down right now with that -5 losing streak to end the week. Definitely think that's going to stay still. But like I said, I think Griffins are going to be the team in that division that are really looking to unseat somebody and take a spot back. I think the Wolves and the Admirals should really be watching themselves there. Probably more so the Wolves, in my opinion.
I mean, with following up with the whole 3-game lose streak, 1-game win streak thing, you got to look at 3rd and 4th as well. Also, both being a 3-game lose streak. So the 2nd and 4th have lost a week and a half worth of games. Yeah. At least the Griffins have shown that climb with a 1-goal or 1-win lead. Now, whether they went win loss to get that 1 win to perk is, I haven't looked that deep into it. I could probably, but I'm not going to. I'm lazy. I'm a lazy guy.
And you look at someone like the Chicago Wolves. They had brought up Just Cause, who I think you all know. He went undefeated for them, but with that $4 million cap space, they couldn't afford to keep him on roster, and that's where it's starting to hurt them, right? Where their bidding strategy maybe didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And now they kind of have to juggle cap space versus who we want on this team. Who's going to help us, but actually costs enough that we can afford. So I'm interested
Yeah.
to see what the Wolves do, at least on the management side, to try and
For
get this
sure,
team
they
shaped up.
already did ship out Jay Shermanator, one of my
Yeah,
guys. He'll be a little cancer, but he definitely knows how to put the puck in the net.
definitely. Yeah.
They've got some tough decisions if they want to stay in that playoff spot right now.
Agreed. But yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be a very close race in this Western Central. But moving on to the last division here, we got the Western Pacific with the leading San Jose Barracuda, 36-14-5, a 77-point season, plus 69 on the goal differential. It's a fantastic number. You've got a really good team here, but the closest team to them is the Colorado Eagles, who are 20 points back. They're
Yeah.
not they're not losing that first seed. Their mind's got to be on the playoffs and facing presumably the San Antonio Rampage in that Western Conference final. But yeah, outside of that, you've got the Eagles, the Heat, the Roadrunners, and the Condors all within 4 points of each other, all battling for that last playoff spot rather. So it's going to be another really interesting race in the West. And yeah, I mean, judging based on the numbers, these teams look deadlocked.
Yeah, another division where it's just, Barracuda, I mean, definitely the only thing that they've got really to watch right now is, they're the end of the week on a 3-game losing streak. You do that in the playoffs, you're in a real tough spot. So they definitely got to make sure that they've made the right moves to lock that up. They get, you can't be thinking about the San Antonio Rampage yet. They still got to get there.
Exactly.
Other shout out, just a better highlight, the Americans and the teams that just managed to week in, year out, keep the management team that's winning games, building great teams. The Reign go from playoffs last season looking dominant. They give away Beaver Clops for nothing, for peanuts before the season starts.
That actually kind of sucks because
Six with 42 points.
Yeah, they're struggling. I mean, 11 points out of a playoff spot. The odds of them making it now are pretty slim. It's going to be a tough climb to try and do, especially
if they kept Beaver Clops, I believe they make it. Beaver Clops is a beast.
Yeah, he's a difference maker, man. Maybe not to the Wolfpack. They're managing to squander his talents there. They're sitting, fifth in their division. Shout out to them. They're 63 points, but it's definitely a big loss when you let him go for peanuts to Hartford.
But them going for peanuts was a dumb move. Maybe I know I had him in season 8. At the start of the season, we got him in a trade. Prior to week 1,
he puts the puck in the net. He's a difference maker on your team. The whole other team has to plan for him.
We ended up trading him away before week 3 because he was on holidays with his family for 2 weeks, and it just was hurting us having him on the roster and not having him there. So we traded him away, and we didn't get a chance really to play with him and see what he was all about. So we traded him away. I'm not sure if he was worth the $5.4 million we had on him. Trade him away, get something for it, and after we did it, and he came back from holidays, we
just lit it up.
We were pulling our hair out because this guy we should have kept.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys you got to watch it. If he gets the right line with him too, last season he was playing with our left winger Zero. He's got some buddies that he likes to play with. Typically, if they've got their chemistry coordinated. Sorry for the phone ringing there. Thought I had everything turned off, but I forgot about my Apple Watch. Quick shout out to Apple products. If he gets the right line with him too, that just really lets him control that line, and he doesn't have Bigfoot. Him and them just kind of grinding over in the corner together, playing too much Siege. But when they get their spacing right and he has the right team, Beaver, man, Beaver's a hell of a player.
He was a beast, and I say I'm mad at myself season let him go for as cheap as we did, and to see somebody else in the AHL do the same thing, they made a drastic mistake. The guy is worth at least 3 players.
Agreed.
And not bottom feeders. I mean quality players
for sure. But yeah, with that being said, that's our standings for the end of week 6 going into week 7. Congrats to all the teams that are sitting at the top, and it's going to be some interesting races, more so on the West than in the East, but it'll be tooth and nail for the next 3 weeks in the AHL.
Let's break it into the scoring race here, bud. Do you want to break us down with the top 6?
Sure.
And I'll finish up with that on the scoring race, and then we'll let the goaltender himself deal with top 10 on goalies.
For sure. So we got.
Before I jump there, buddy, just so MD, we're looking at 19 games minimum played by goaltenders.
Okay. Cool.
So coming in top spot is the San Jose Barracuda, bar down daily, going 17-1-1, 57 points, 27 goals, 30 assists, and a plus 41. 35.1 on the shooting percentage, and only 12 PIMs. Having a really strong season, and a big reason why those Barracuda are sitting top in their division. Coming at number 2 is Prodigy to Legend of the Griffins, who is 10-7-2, 47 points, 20 goals, 27 assists, and a plus 9. But 32 penalty minutes, a little bit higher than you'd like to see for sure. But having a solid season statistically, at least in goal scoring. Number 3, we got the Tucson Roadrunners Ginger 2001 right winger. 8-10-1, but 46 points, 21 goals, 25 assists, a negative 12, 23.6 on the shooting percentage, and 20 PIMs. So not having a great record or plus minus, but producing the puck, producing points when he does get the puck.
Now, Ginger was a Cyclone last year in the CHL, so it's good to see him actually at least rise a bit in the AHL side.
Is that the same Ginger?
I believe it is.
He changed his name?
He was a Cyclone, I believe AGM or GM for them. So there was like 4 Gingers last year in the CHL.
There was a lot of Gingers, yeah. I was getting kind of confused.
I believe he was the Cyclones GM.
Wasn't that General Ginger B? Or Ginger B Vitus?
He was the owner.
I forget all the Gingers. Oh, screw it. Congratulations to Ginger for having a great season so far. There's too many you goddamn Gingers.
The Gingers have been doing that.
They're taking over, man. They're taking over. Coming to number...
Now, to correct that, I believe Ginger was I think you're right. He was a Cyclone. They traded him away because he wasn't a true Ginger.
Maybe that was the issue.
And that's what I believe it was. I believe he was a Cyclone and got traded because he was not a true Ginger. So I think he's a false advertisement.
I see.
Rocking more of Auburn, really more of Auburn.
Yeah, exactly.
Auburn, right? Yeah, I think it's actually blonde, to be honest.
But yeah, coming to number 4 here, we got the Iowa Wild's Frost X17 going 11-8, 44 points, 23 goals, 21 assists, a plus 6, 32.9 on the shooting percentage, and 18 PIMs. Our first center here putting up a 55.7 on the faceoff. So really good job on the in the dot there, and hopefully he can push those Wild to try and get a better seeding in the playoffs. Coming to number 5, we have another Tucson Roadrunner, Baba Booey, who's been around the league for a long time. Going 8-9-2, 40 points, 23 goals, 17 assists, -1, 26.4 on the shooting, 15 penalty minutes, and 54.9 on the faceoffs as a center. Congrats to Baba Booey for taking up top 5 spot there. And last but not least in this top 6 is Jay Peace, the left winger of the Iowa Wild, and I believe the GM.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah. Going 10-6-3, 40 points, 16 goals, 24 assists, plus 3, 32.7 on the shooting percentage, and an impressive 2 penalty minutes. So staying out of that box. Yeah, that's impressive.
I'd want that on my team.
Crazy, man.
Agreed. But yeah, that's okay, this can't be right.
What? That's top 6. That's top 6.
Yeah, hang on. Let me check something out here. Yeah, that's wholeheartedly not the top 6. So apparently when you put in 19 games as the minimum games, it literally just put the guys who had 19 games played.
Oh, you're a pooper, man.
Yeah, so ignore everything I just said, because I was confused why there was a D-man in the top 7. All right, so we're gonna restart this real quick. CHL Legend taking top spot. With
definitely sorted the goalies correctly.
Yeah, it does not like say.
Doesn't matter. I get it.
Yeah, I think my stupidity came in here because most people haven't played 19 games.
Guess what?
What?
You fucked up.
Yeah, that's apparently my calling card when it comes to the AHL media show is me fucking up the stats.
All right, just do top 5 this time, buddy.
Real quick. So CHL Legend taking top spot, 75 points, 15-3, 46 assists, 29 goals, plus 44, 29 penalty minutes, 64.2 in the faceoff. So absolutely dominant in the dot. Coming at number 2 is his line mate Lucente, right winger, 15-3, 68 points, 36 goals, 32 assists, plus 43 in the plus minus, and only 12 PIMs opposed to his counterparts 29. and 36.8 in the faceoff. So when Shell does take those penalties, Lucente is considerably worse in the dot. So hopefully Shell can keep that stick on the ice as opposed to in between people's skates. Coming to number 3, we got I Am a Beast Kid 19 going 14-4, 62 points, 21 goals, 41 assists, plus 29, 28.8 on the shooting percentage, and 12 penalty minutes. Coming to number 4, we got Skyer 5 of the Charlotte Checkers going 17-1, 61 points, 31 goals, 30 assists, plus 37, 40.3 on the shooting percentage, and only 2 penalty minutes, and 53.3 on the faceoff. So really, really solid stats across the board for Skyer, and pretty much never losing. Coming in last but not least for the top 5 is Greggy99, who I believe was in our top players of the week. He went 11-5-2, 60 points, 16 goals, 44 assists, so very much a playmaker. Plus 24, 40% on the shooting percentage, only 8 PIMs. And yeah, congrats to the top 5 there.
For sure. Good stuff.
Congrats to them 100%. Let's move on with the bottom 5 of the top 10 here. Number 6 coming in is Johnny Kenny 01 for the Americans here. 14-4 record covering 59 points, 35 goals, 24 assists, plus 21 in the plus minus category, 69 shots, 50.7 in the shooting percent average, and 9 penalty minutes. So, I mean, really, he's doing a good job. Definitely finishing at 50.7 shooting. So every second shot's going in. So you really can't discredit him at all for what he's doing with the puck when it's on his stick, especially in the tape. Coming 7th overall, we have Ninja Gamer 672, 14-4-0 record, 57 points, 32 goals, 25 assists, a plus 33 in the plus minus category, 93 shots, 34.4 in the shooting percent average, and 20 penalties. Taking a little more penalties than I expect to see from a forward, especially in top 10. You got to watch that stick, man. Watch that stick. Watch it. Stay in the box, man.
I'm putting it lightly.
I mean, lightly is what it is. I mean, Red Green had it right, man. Red Green had it right. Keep your sticks on the ice. For all you don't know what that is, it's an old. I think it's Canadian actually show. It was called Red Green. If you don't know it, check it out. That was their only everyday daily advice was keep your sticks on the ice. So listen to them. They're talking about Bar Down Daily coming in number 8th overall for the Barracuda, 17-1-1 this season, 57 points as well, tied with Ninja Gamer, 27 goals, 30 assists, plus 41 the plus minus department, 77 shots, 35.1 on the shooting percent average, and 12 penalty minutes. Still a little bit high for a forward than I like. I can't talk. I think I'm at 57 penalty minutes forward, so I'm just garbage. Leave that alone. 9th overall, we have Kev 10 from the Checkers coming in overall, 17-1 for a record, 56 points, 13 goals, 43 assists, plus 37, 52 shots, 25% shooting average, and 12 penalties as well for him. And 10th, but not least, last of all, San the Man 19, another All-Star nominee, as well as Kev there coming in at 12-4-2 record, 56 points, 25 goals, 31 assists, a plus 11 on the plus minus department, 135 shots. This guy's just shooting from anywhere. He doesn't care where it is. I'm shooting. Get the rebound. I'm shooting. And it's working. It's working. He's top 10. 18.5 on the category, but obviously his teammates are picking up the rebounds for him and making things happen with those assists. But still with 21 penalty minutes, and that's kind of high in my opinion. Stan the Man, you gotta watch your stick, man. Either stop stick lifting, stop poking, or just stop trying to kill them. Simple as that.
For sure.
Sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes you just gotta let them be alive, man. There's no line changes. Stop trying to kill people.
Exactly. Let's jump into our goalies, though, man. What do you have first for the top 10 here, buddy?
Yeah, so one thing I do want to throw out there, I like to, if we're going to go by the goalie stats on the site, I usually sort by wins first and foremost, because if we're going to judge goalies by anything, they should be winning games. So if you want, I'll do a very brief top 10 by wins and then a top 10 by save percentage, which is, in my opinion, the only two things a goalie can try to control in this game.
Yeah, for sure.
So number 1 by wins, 31 games played, McBang Bang 22 with a 23-8 record. Definitely doing his part to make the Checkers so dominant. Number 2, BCNYY02. 23-12 in 35 games. Another solid win percentage right there, helping his team out. The Canadian 777, 22-11 in 33 games. Osama bin Stabin on the Rocket, rocking a 21-8. You gotta like when your goalie's only lost 8 games. I always mess his name up. Gatesi from the Penguins, 20-5. Has lost 5 games out of the 25 that he has played, rocking an 84.8 save percentage, 2.02 goals against, and 4 shutouts in that time. You got the Birdman 27 from the Americans, rocking the 20-2 record, 88.2 save percentage, 1.56 goals against, 3 shutouts. Definitely a man that's earning his keep right there. SW Bobcats, number 9, coming in at 7th. 19-9 record on the season right now. Smoking Cannons 101 at 8th. 19-6 on the season. Yours truly, MD Conman, coming at 9th, 18-14.
That's why you sorted by wins. I get it now.
I sort by wins, I promise you, because then I have to talk about my 14 losses. But moving right along, Bobata coming in at number 10, 17-13 record. We switched it over to save percentages, what the site likes to default to. We got a couple that are overlapping to Birdman, 27. We got Deuces Wild at number 2. 10-12 record, but he's rocking that 87.9 save percentage. Shout out to him.
Below 2 goals against a game. So, I mean, doing a really good job.
3 shutouts in 22 games and only 10 wins to show for it. His team's got to start helping him out.
Yep.
BCNYY again, McBang Bang again, the Canadian again, Darkness Lord 67 from the conversation earlier. Not Dark Side, but Darkness Lord.
Yep.
15-10 on the season, 85.2 save percentage. Our guy STL Stash coming in at 7th, 12-16. Another one that's rocking a rough win percentage despite some good individual numbers. Gatesi again, SW Bobcats, and Tyler Loki rounding out the top 10 by this metric. 14-11 record, 367 shots against with an 84.7 save percentage and a 2.14 goals against. 5 shutouts, though. So another one that his team's got to start doing himself a little bit better because more than a third of his wins are shutouts.
Agreed, but you look at where the Rocket are in the standing. They do score a fair amount. It just seems to be sort of one or the other for Tyler Loki. Either he gets a shutout or he gets
or they give up at least 3 goals.
Yeah. So it's sort of nowhere in between for him. And obviously it gets more complicated when you look at the play style and the quality of shots and all the stuff we can't measure with metrics. But interesting to see. But yeah, that's our scoring race and our goalie race for save percentage and wins. That pretty much rounds out our show. We're going to kick you guys off with the top 10 plays of the week for the LG AHL PSN. But just a brief reminder that we will be doing a show again tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, Choirs and Cups for the CHL. Feel free to tune in. And yeah, thanks again for everybody stopping in. Thank you, Conman, for coming in for this interview and helping us get our power rankings and scoring race and standings done.
100%. Thank you, buddy,
happy to. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad to come back anytime.
For sure. But without further ado, this is our top plays, and we will catch you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Let's get it.